Hello, Marie, Turbocharged Reading. And no, that's not one of my paintings. It's one I commissioned from Jacquie Jones, and she's our local artist. So I'd like to discuss the business card underneath and the vexed question of speed reading, because turbocharged reading is not speed reading. It comes under the umbrella of speed reading, but more of that a little later. Yes, I can read 7 times faster, and more importantly to me, I can remember what I have read some years later. And your speeds may be faster or slower. It all depends. But have you ever read one of those novels or a series of novels and you get halfway through the novel and you're still not up to speed with who is who and why and what? Maybe even into the second book, you're still somewhat confused. I've experienced that. But if you will download, that's the first stage of turbocharged reading, if you will download all that material into your inner mind, then when you come to actually slow read, each word read that novel, then it is if you are reading an old friend with all the sparkle of a brand new book and discovery. I'm not a PhD, but I have read that a PhD student could and did read 19 times faster. He finished his PhD 19 times faster than his peers. Now, to me, that is impressive. So, we've got an open book there. And that is because you download both pages at once. You see and put into your inner mind both pages at once. And you turn those pages at a rate of about 1 a second. Because some pages turn very easily and others are thoroughly difficult to turn. And above the open book, what's that? A Wi-Fi symbol? Well, yes, of course. You can read all your websites, your blog posts, your emails, anything that comes over the internet. Turbocharged reading is perfectly suitable for that material. Now then, I can see purple, green and red, and those are the chakra colours. And turbocharged reading is lovely for spiritual type reading. However, the real reason for that arch and those colours is that when turbocharged reading, we use a technique I call rainbowing. And rainbows have the chakra colours. We use a number of energy techniques. So we use energy, we direct your mind, and we use your body to turbocharge read effectively. And you know that reading is not necessarily the end of the story, if you'll let me use that word. Because this material needs to be in your inner mind. It needs to be useful at your fingertips. And we all know that if you're reading something that you love totally, fascinates you, that material goes directly into your long-term memory. Whereas if you're reading something that's boring or obligatory, then you have to do something a little extra to put that information into your long-term memory. So why do I object to the term speed reading? Well, let's look at the different sorts of reading. Firstly, as a child, you had to decipher those squiggles, and those squiggles had to make sounds and words. And then the words had to make a sentence. And in order to do this, you read each word sequentially along the line before going to the line below and starting all over again. And this builds in a lot of limitations. However, the most fantastic literature, both academic and fiction, have been created using this method. But some people have escaped. I understand that John F. Kennedy, President of the United States, read numerous newspapers each morning so that he could keep an eye on the pulse of the nation. Well, that is, if you can use "I" and "pulse" in one sentence. My friend Pete also escaped. He had an hour's lunch break, and during that time he found he could knock off a novel in half an hour. And his son didn't really believe this. So 4 days after reading a novel, his son asked him questions, and Peter found that he could answer these mastermind questions with ease. So if you ask him, how do you read like this? He'll tell you that he doesn't actually know, that he doesn't think that he sees each word. He has naturally progressed to what I call inner mind reading. And turbocharged reading is inner mind reading, but we'll come back to that. Let's move right across to the other side of the spectrum, where you will find quantum reading. And quantum reading is something you really, really need to look up because it is totally fascinating. There are a number of YouTube videos showing young children quantum reading. They are being taught to flick through books and listen to them, smell them, feel them, see them. They're not actually reading words. What they are doing is connecting with the author because time and distance is irrelevant. And these children are reading that connection. Totally fascinating. Something I really don't think I could possibly aspire to. This is not a photographic memory, because a photographic memory is something you are born with, and turbocharged reading and any other program cannot tutor you into acquiring a photographic memory. Unfortunately, I think that the quantum reading is something that is limited to an age range. Now, whether like a photographic memory, adults' expectations, educations knock this ability out of a child, I really don't know. I certainly hope not. So let's come to the middle range. There is an umbrella, a ubiquitous term, speed reading. But you know, that's not really true, because speed reading is a specific type of reading. And this was developed in the late 1950s by an American lady called Evelyn Wood. And yes, she uses a lot of inner mind reading techniques, but speed readers use drills and exercises, and my brain cannot cope with these drills and exercises. I quite simply could not become a speed reader. I'm a little bit dyslexic. I don't have a problem reading, I just do other weird and wonderful things which I can't possibly explain even to myself. But speed reading has become a generic term. At the other side of speed reading, under the umbrella, there is what I call inner mind reading. I don't think you'll find this word on the internet because it's a word I have created. And turbocharged reading comes in this bracket of inner mind reading because we use your mind naturally. We use your energy systems naturally. We use your body naturally so that you can absorb all this material very, very quickly, securely, because understanding is built up in layers. Confidence is built up in layers. Memory is built up in layers. So you apply turbocharged reading in layers, sequentially. Now, in between inner mind reading and speed reading, there is a hybrid form of reading. And this hybrid form of reading starts off as speed reading and somehow or other magically becomes inner mind reading. Now, I haven't bought a program because I know I can't accommodate the speed reading side of things. Now, I did buy 2 speed reading programs so that I would know what I'm talking about. One cost me £11 and one cost me £425, and they both taught exactly the same things. You remember I told you that Evelyn Woods, or did I tell you, that when you do speed reading you can read 2 to 5 times faster. My £425 program taught me how to read twice as fast, but it used a process which I find to be unsustainable, particularly if you've got something painful like fibromyalgia. So speed reading is quite simply not a program for me. It might suit you down to the ground. So let's get back to turbocharged reading. And after you've turbocharged read your material, you need to have it at your fingertips. As said previously, if it's fascinating and interesting, it goes directly into your inner mind. And if it's utterly boring and confusing, you have to do something to put it into your mind. And I know someone with 200 pages on his library shelves. He calls it shelf development as opposed to self-development, because each of these books has a mind map tucked into the back. But that information is stuck in the mind map when it needs to be constantly, instantly available at his fingertips. Many people are reading these book summaries, 6 pages, because most material only has 4 to 11% that is relevant. The rest is just explanation or bumf. But if those 6 pages are not constantly, instantly available, then, in my opinion, you've rather wasted your time. So, yes, turbocharged reading works wonderfully for me, and I'm sure it'll work really well for you, even if you have reading issues, because we use natural processes. These processes are hardwired into us. So, thank you for listening, and I hope to be speaking with you very soon.